Chill.
Embarrassed us during inauguration. Yeah, our embarrassed one in the presence of the president.
One
People now.
one.
to end here. Nakase kase kalina jambo. What Zambia? What Zambia? What Zambia?
morning during the ceremonial opening of the first session of the 13th National Assembly. Because culture is very important, Chile. When you talk about the need to apply yourself as a citizen fully to the national development agenda, it's embedded in our culture that we play a part. And early on, you were sharing the rich history behind the building of this infrastructure, the Parliament House, and you're talking about the fact that look, it was a very huge indication of how Zambia is dedicated, each and every citizen contributing in a way to coming up with this particular building. So it tells you how Zambia must be united. But again, it gets back to our culture, because as Zambians, unity is in our DNA, so to speak, isn't it? And I think that the president is going to talk about that as he addresses these men and women in the chambers.
104 guests have been invited here at Parliament buildings to witness the maiden speech for the president. Many issues to be addressed, and you can see the cosmopolitan grouping that is here in Parliament, from the corporate world to ordinary citizens to parliamentarians themselves. And obviously, a huge mandate weighs on their shoulders. And the president did speak about not just representing your constituency, but also representing the greater good for Zambia. So if you're MP for a particular area, when you think about development, think about it for the greater good of Zambia. So much as far as talking points will be coming to the fore. The entrepreneurs, the young people are excited about to listen to what plans he has, especially that a ministry, Brian, has been set aside and it will be ratified by Parliament in due course, but set aside for small and medium entrepreneurs. One of the issues that was in the manifesto being actualized.
That's a good point you raised, and I mean the establishment of that ministry does spark growth when it comes to the entrepreneurship area of the country's economy, because we've been talking about the fact that look, those entrepreneurs have brilliant ideas, and many times you and I, of course of our work, we interact with people that have got huge business ideas, but they don't seem to have the support system, so to speak, in terms of the resources, financial resources, loans from banks and things of that sort. That ministry, I think, will address those issues. And also, we've seen entrepreneurs who really have face difficulties in finding markets out there. When they come up with their goods and services, there is a barrier in terms of accessing the huge markets out of Zambia in Zambia. So this ministry is going to be key in that regard, in addressing these issues that continue to hinder growth in as far as the SME sector is concerned. And like you mentioned earlier on, away from the issue of entrepreneurs and things of that sort, you mentioned the very interesting part about this parliament. The backbenchers are now in government, and those who were in government in the previous parliament are now backbenchers. It's going to be very interesting to see how it's going to pan out as far as offering checks and balances. But the president has said that he's extremely ready to receive checks and balances. And he did, indicate on several occasions that this is healthy for a democracy. When you've got people that criticize you, and tell you, look, this decision may not be the best decision. You need to look at these things. And as you can see earlier on, right now, as a matter of fact, the president signing into the book here at in the office of the speaker, the visitors book, just indicating that look, I've been here and I'm here right now. And this again does come very, very, interesting, because many young people out there don't appreciate what happens in parliament, and perhaps the media must do a lot to try and sensitize young people on this ceremony and just the concept of parliament in itself, isn't it?
A big role the parliamentarians have. And when you see the president visit Parliament. It signifies the will of government to see that everyone is in sync, despite of where they come from, in ensuring service delivery for the Zambian people. Parliament is committed to effectively and efficiently carry out its legislative, oversight, representative, and budgetary functions. And all these components will be included in the president's speech today. Earlier on, Brian, we did speak to the manufacturing sector in as far as the president is concerned, Ezekiel Sekele. He did speak about 8% being contributed to the manufacturing sector currently, but in the next year, 10 years, a projection of 30% is expected. Of course, we'd like to push it to more.
Yeah.
There is a lot of potential in the manufacturing
Absolutely.
sector. And when you think about the new ministries that have been introduced, like technology and what they can do to help boost the manufacturing sector, gives you a reflection of what the president keeps on saying, that where one ministry ends, the other one starts, and teamwork must be observed. So that must be going through the minds of most of these parliamentarians as they take these important seats.
Indeed, the manufacturing sector does expect from these members of parliament, you can see on your screen right now, to do something about the contribution that is coming from the manufacturing sector. You mentioned that they are contributing only 8% to the country's GDP. Now that's more. Well, I mean, we do not, ignore the fact that this is out of some great effort, but we can do better. When you look at the Vision 2030, it does project and demand that at that particular time, the country's manufacturing sector must contribute something like 36%. So it tells you that we have got a lot of work to do, because 2030 is almost is near, it's just around the corner.
Yes.
And therefore these members of parliament must try and do something about that. They must try and find solutions to make up for a slight delay that we have suffered as far as getting the best out of the manufacturing industry. But in that narrative, in that conversation, Chileshe, you want to bring in the issue of value addition that we spoke about earlier on. The manufacturing industry needs to have policies that support it to grow and be able to embrace and actualize a value addition, which does account for huge benefits in terms of job creation, in terms of growing the country's economy. Because when you've got a manufacturing industry that is thriving, you grow your middle class, and then it helps your citizens have the buying power to be able to buy the services and goods that the industry is are bringing to the fore. So manufacturing and value addition should be the conversation should be on the lips and on the minds of these members of parliament.
And as the first time being here in the parliamentary grounds, as the first time addressing parliamentarians as the president of Zambia, you will note that the president has spoken about policy consistency.
Absolutely.
And that's one issue that he continues to talk about to attract investors to the country. Policy consistency is key. He has also spoken about the multi-facility economic zones and how they have to be maximized in terms of potential to ensure that they also contribute to Zambia's economy. I think the tone that has been set, Brian, is really that it's time to work, it's time to put in the work, it's time to work for the nation and ensure that every contribution goes to the well-being of the Zambian people. This is the first time he's coming into the parliamentary grounds, coming to address the parliamentarians. And you may think it is one of the most important addresses that he will make. We know he has spoken on various occasions, and that has also set the tone for what we're talking about today. But most importantly, policy consistency is on the mind of the president. He's spoken about the agriculture sector and how small and medium farmers need to grow from where they are to become high scale farmers that also contribute to the economy. He is also spoken about Zambian. So that is something that probably he will speak about when it comes to health.
Earlier on the issue of policy inconsistencies that we've seen in the country. Now, the role of government is not to provide jobs, is to make the environment very favorable for investment. And when your policies are inconsistent, it's a huge discouragement for players to come and invest. Because let's face it, government has owned industries in the past. They were sold because arguably government was incapable of running these industries. And as the new government comes into power, as government is in power, right? The new government is in power. There is need for policies that will be you know have changed. It's a huge discouragement. So inside parliament building,
parliamentarians for the vision he has for Zambia, what he carries, and the future of this country.
So is it? Be humbled by the responsibility you, the Zambian people, have placed in our hands. We passed away as a result of this pandemic. It is therefore important that this August House observes a minute of silence in honor of our late luminaries. Thank you. Then that you will execute your duties diligently and maintain the decorum of this House. I also congratulate all of you, I mean all of you, the re-elected and newly elected members of parliament. On your election to represent the people of Zambia. The people of Zambia, all of you will be nominated to this August House. You two are congratulated. The people of Zambia have placed great confidence be for personal gain. We must presence in this house should therefore want to contribute toward improving their lives. Let us work hard and our order, Mrs. Sale Nalumango, will certainly be equal to the task as leader of government has the skin in the heart. Madam Speaker, I'm happy to note that the August 2021 general elections were held. We must all preoccupy ourselves conducted in an effective and efficient. The overwhelming support of the Zambian people carried the European victory. In the midst of informal manner. Thank you. Let me also pace the overwhelming support of the Zambian people carried the UPND to victory. Meant the electorate who exercise their civic duty to vote for liberty. Special appreciation leaders of their choice
our
change they so much desired.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, the United Party for National Development Government has a new task ahead to turn around the economic forces of our country. Rebuilding our economy is top on our agenda. I tell you, rebuilding our economy is top on our agenda. As this is what will deliver jobs and better livelihood of all our. We have inherited an economy that is in state and requires bold and decisive action to ensure recovery is achieved. We need the support of every citizen to achieve our development agenda. Our administration will, therefore, create an environment in which every citizen will have the opportunity to participate in and benefit from the economic activities of our country. As we begin our first term in office, our administration will embark on a national development agenda to ensure accelerated economic recovery. Our vision is to have a united and prosperous Zambia that will provide equal opportunities for all our people. We are determined to meet the basic needs of every Zambian and create a conducive environment for Zambia to become a prosperous middle-income country. We will implement policies to address the fiscal deficit while ensuring that confidence is restored in the markets, all the markets, trading and financial markets, all of them, all of them. I'm sure you've seen the changes already in the trading market. It is important to bring stability to our economy and accelerate growth. As we embark on the journey, it is cardinal that equality, enhanced provision of equitable access to our economic opportunities to all our citizens, especially our youth. We will also enhance provision of adequate social services. Indeed, we will further enhance the provision of social protection to the poor and vulnerable in our society. It is in this regard that the theme of my address is creating a united, prosperous, and equitable Zambia, restoring economic growth and safeguarding livelihoods. I shall repeat. It is in this regard that the theme of my address is creating a united, prosperous, and equitable Zambia, restoring economic growth and safeguarding livelihoods. Madam Speaker, the theme calls on all of us to unite regardless of our political affiliation, ethnicity, religion, and indeed gender. We need to focus our attention on strengthening unity in our country. We need to focus on what unites us and not what divides us as a people. We are determined to usher in an era we all desire a prosperous and equitable society, don't we? The levels of poverty in our country are unacceptably high. We must end the vicious cycle of poverty and bring prosperity to all our people. We will work to reduce various forms of inequality and create a more equitable society. We will safeguard the livelihoods of our people, especially the poor and vulnerable in our society. We will provide equal opportunities for development to all our citizens across the country. Madam Speaker, The theme also reflects our desire to reverse the current economic downturn, as indicated. We will accelerate economic growth and create opportunities, emphatically, for all our people. We will increase access to quality education and healthcare, as well as water and sanitation services. In addition, we must sustain livelihoods, ensure affordable cost of living, as well as food and nutrition security for our people. Madam Speaker, the theme sets the tone and direction for our development agenda over the next 5 years. Our administration is determined to creating a united and prosperous Zambia, said, with equal opportunities, they said, across ethnic, I repeat, across ethnic, religious, and gender considerations, in harmony, in a free but democratic society. Madam Speaker, our administration will develop a robust national development action plan for the period 2022 to 2026, course anchored on our manifesto. The 8th National Development Plan will reflect our economic transformation agenda to deliver on the national vision and the aspirations of our people, our citizens. The focus on the transformation agenda will be on attaining outcomes beyond economic growth to include greater inclusion and poverty reduction. Madam Speaker, I will proceed to outline the broad policy direction of my government for the next 5 years. I will do so under the following thematic areas. 1, economic transformation and job creation. 2, human and social development. 3, environmental sustainability. 4, good governance, environment. Good governance, environment. Madam Speaker, economic transformation will be the overarching framework that will bring together interventions in the various sectors of the economy to create jobs and reduce poverty. To this end, government will implement policy measures to promote economic transformation at all times, particularly in the job-rich sectors of agriculture, mining, tourism, energy, commerce and industry, green economy, transport, as well as information and communication technology. Our commitment to technological advancement in our country is evidenced by the proposed formation of the new Ministry of Technology and Science. This will allow policy development and implementation to spur development in the cross-cutting sectors and be a catalyst for economic growth and transformation. Additionally, the proposed Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises development is poised to foster the development, support, and growth of small, medium-sized enterprises. Very innovative, very innovative. Madam Speaker, the agriculture sector is critical in driving growth, creating employment opportunities, and contributing to prosperity of our country. Our country has in excess of 40 million hectares of arable land. I shall repeat. Our country has in excess of 40 million hectares of arable land. We have abundant surface and underground water resources. We have favorable weather conditions. We have readily available domestic, regional, and international markets for our agricultural commodities. Most of our people derive their livelihood from agriculture. The agriculture sector is, however, characterized by low productivity levels, insufficient agricultural support infrastructure, inadequate delivery of extension services, and poor land husbandry practices. In addition, there is inadequate value addition, high cost of finance, and high dependence on one crop, in particular maize. Investing in this sector, therefore, guarantees significant improvements in the lives of the majority of our people. To this end, the government will implement a comprehensive agricultural transformation program with the aim of making the sector a viable commercial undertaking. It is only through agricultural transformation that we will end hunger and improve nutrition while accelerating economic growth. This will ultimately make our country food secure and a breadbasket for this region and beyond. Madam Speaker, we will restructure the sector to focus on activities and interventions that raise production and productivity in crops, livestock, and fisheries. We will create a conducive and stable environment, which is a critical precondition for agricultural transformation. Madam Speaker, to improve agricultural production, productivity, government will ensure access to affordable agricultural inputs, such as fertilizer, chemicals, pesticides, and others. This will be achieved through the redesigning of the Farmer Input Support Program to transform it into a more cost-effective and sustainable intervention. This will promote cost efficiency and enhance private sector participation in the sector. We will partner with the private sector and establish agro-input manufacturing industries to produce these inputs for our farmers. This will promote a strong agro-dealer network across the country. We will create opportunities for small, large businesses in the production of agro-inputs. Madam Speaker, our administration will also promote crop diversification away from maize alone by supporting production of a wider range of cereal crops, legumes, fruit trees, roots, tubers, oil crops, as well as fiber crops. This will be achieved through improved extension services, mechanization, irrigation, value addition, and improved market access, as said already. This will result in enhanced national food and nutrition security, as well as increased incomes for all our farmers across the country. Madam Speaker, to promote and increase livestock production, government will focus on stocking and restocking, artificial insemination, as well as enhanced disease surveillance and control programs. Government will also facilitate research in animal breeding, disease prevention, and in nutrition. Further, livestock market promotion and value addition will be given priority. We will also support the construction and rehabilitation of livestock infrastructure, such as laboratories, service centers, breeding centers across the country. Madam Speaker, aquaculture is another area with great potential to provide opportunities for our people to venture in and improve their livelihoods. Luapula, others. Madam Speaker, aquaculture is critical. In this regard, we will promote the expansion and the intensification of fish farming across the country, especially among women and our youth. We will also promote production of fingerlings, as well as establishment of hatcheries in the country to facilitate the growth of the aquaculture industry. This will not only improve the livelihoods of our people, but also meet the growing demand of fish in our country. Madam Speaker, to ensure a transformed agriculture sector, which will effectively contribute to the restoration of economic growth and job creation. Government will review the existing agricultural policies. Government will review the existing agricultural policies. We want to enhance production and productivity. The two are different. Production and productivity. Value addition, marketing, as well as transparency and predictability of the export regime in the sector. Not frequent changes. Stability, predictable. Very important for business. Farming is a business. I therefore urge our people to seize the opportunities that exist in the sector so that as a country, we are not only food sufficient, but also become the breadbasket of this region and indeed beyond. We have the capacity to do it. Let us therefore do it as a country, as a people. Madam Speaker, the mining sector will continue to play a key role in accelerating economic growth. Despite our long mining history and large mineral resource endowment, Zambia still faces a number of challenges in the mining sector. These include low levels of local participation and ownership in this sector, lack of transparency and accountability, as well as inconsistent fiscal policies. Mining is a long-term business. You don't change fiscal policies every other year. Investments will run away. So we shall stabilize this. Attractive, stable, consistent. And the rest you will see what will happen positively. Our administration is determined to ensure increased local participation and ownership in the sector. More jobs being created. More jobs being created, as well as increased investment in the mining sector. Too many of our people depend on this sector. We shall support it. Harnessing the opportunities available in the mining sector will be crucial to our economic revival. We will ensure increased copper and other minerals production, as well as maximizing the benefits from various minerals such as gold. Such as gold. Such as gold. Cobalt, manganese, among others. We will also promote further exploration as well as value addition. In this regard, we will offer appropriate incentives in this sector. We want to position the country to be a leading manufacturer of mineral value-added products such as electro cables. Such as electro cables. Some of you remember Zamefa. Such as electro cables and copper-based accessories to meet the growing demand of such products. Very important. This will translate into more employment opportunities for our people, especially the youth. We will also increase earnings from exports of value-added products and ultimately enhance provision of public services to our people. Madam Speaker, to ensure predictability and sustained investment in the sector, government, in consultation with stakeholders, will review the mining tax policy framework, as indicated. In consultations, government, in consultation with stakeholders, will review the mining policy framework. This is aimed at introducing a stable mining tax regime necessary to increase investment in the sector. We will ensure that our people receive their fair share from our mineral wealth, not to be observers, not to be symbolic observers. Further, to enhance operations in the sector, government will review the existing institutional framework. With these measures in place and increased participation of our people, the mining sector is poised to contribute more towards restoring economic growth and improving the livelihoods for our people. for our people across the country. Madam Speaker, our country is endowed with abundant natural beauty, coupled with a rich cultural heritage. We have unique and pristine tourism sites that must be harnessed to benefit all our people. To this effect, our government will prioritize tourism as one of the key sectors for restoring economic growth, creating jobs, and reducing poverty. The potential of the tourism sector has, however, not been fully exploited. We all know that. The sector is characterized by fewer foreign visitors, shorter length of stay. In the industry, we call it bed nights, shorter bed nights, and a low number of domestic tourists. In the recent past, the sector has been severely affected, negatively of course, by the coronavirus pandemic. To reposition the sector amid the COVID-19 pandemic, our administration will put in place a robust program to facilitate a quick recovery in the sector. In the next 5 years, our administration will focus on attracting international tourists while promoting domestic tourism for enhanced sector resilience. Very important. We will put in place a robust tourism marketing strategy that will package a diversified range of tourism products such as traditional ceremonies, visual arts, culture, and heritage sites. We will also reduce the cost of doing business in the sector and some negative perceptions in the sector. I shall repeat. We will also reduce the cost of doing business and some negative perceptions in the sector, such as perceived to be a yellow fever country when we have no yellow fever. We shall remove that. Thank you. Madam Speaker, with your indulgence. Further, we will open up areas of great potential, such as the northern circuit, to enhance inflows. We will construct and upgrade roads as well as airstrips and airports to tourism sites to improve accessibility. Very important. These interventions, among others, will not only make Zambia a tourism destination of choice, but also contribute to restoring economic growth in the country. I therefore urge players in the sector to continue being creative and innovative in designing and packaging tourism products. I also call upon Zambians to take advantage of the numerous tourism sites across the country and participate in local tourism. Madam Speaker, energy is an important driving force for development and a key enabler for productivity and industrial growth in our economy. Despite this potential investment in the sector, has not grown in tandem with the sector's potential. Our administration will ensure that the energy sector has an appropriate policy framework that will deliver affordable and clean energy from alternative renewables, green economy sources, plenty of them. This will ensure efficiency, sufficient capacity to power the economy and cushion the country from the negative effects of climate change on our current hydroelectricity generation. Madam Speaker, to attract more investments in the electricity subsector, our administration will put in place cost-reflective tariffs. We want more of our people to have access to electricity by scaling up investments in off-grid green energy solutions, key to agriculture, key to tourism, key to mining. We want to transform our country into an electricity hub for the region. We We will therefore continue to invest in the expansion of electricity generation, minimize transmission and distribution losses, as well as develop power interconnectors with other countries. Essentially, our aim is to create excess capacity needed to effectively end load shedding, with surplus power export. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, our aim is to create excess capacity needed to effectively end load shedding with surplus power for exports. Madam Speaker, to improve operations, efficiency, and financial sustainability of the National Power Utility Company, ZESCO Limited, our administration will implement structural and financial reforms in that country, company. For emphasis, to improve operations, efficiency, and financial sustainability of the National Power Utility Company, ZESCO Limited, our administration will implement structural and financial reforms in that company. Madam Speaker, with regard to the petroleum subsector, we will guarantee security of supply of petroleum products. In addition, government will undertake reforms in the fuel supply chain to reduce the landed cost of petroleum products. It shall be done. It shall be done. Our administration will progressively increase private sector participation in the procurement and supply of petroleum products. Madam Speaker, our administration recognizes that trade and industry plays a key role in economic development, as it is the bridge that connects producers of goods and services to the consumers. The sector has a huge potential for job and wealth creation, poverty reduction, and revenue generation for our country. Indeed, to this end, we will pursue an export-led trade strategy that will focus on continuous improvement in the competitiveness and quality of our exports. Government will place the private sector at the center of production and trade as an engine of growth. We are committed to improving the relationship with the private sector and increase the participation of Zambian businesses in regional and global value chains. This will enhance the contribution of trade and industry to job creation and economic growth. We will harmonize the trade policy with other relevant policies to effectively facilitate the flow of trade and investment in our country. We will put in place export financing support mechanisms to support Zambian businesses in their export agenda. I'll be the chief salesman for all of you, Zambians. In addition, we'll work closely with the private sector in exploiting the opportunities available in the regional and international markets. Time has come for us to increase the share of Zambian businesses and products on the regional and global markets. To ensure acceptance of Zambian products globally, regional of course, globally, local of course, government will strengthen the operations of the Bureau of Standards and related bodies to enhance these institutions to appropriately certify products for quality. We will also promote industrial innovation and creativity, as well as support generation of intellectual property assets. Madam Speaker, To enhance the competitiveness of our local enterprises, we will reduce transaction costs. We will reduce transaction costs of doing business by streamlining the number of licenses and permits required to operate a business in this country. As well, we will also promote the use of electronic registration and payment systems. In addition, we will facilitate Zambian-owned businesses to have access to affordable credit and finance. In this country. To keep the wheel of the economy constantly running, we will promote e-commerce. We will promote e-commerce, which will facilitate a productive and efficient economy. This will create more employment opportunities for our people and provide convenience in accessing goods and services. Madam Speaker, with these measures in place, we will be able to fully exploit the various trade opportunities available in the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa. The Southern African Development Community, the African Continental Free Trade Area, the European Union, and China, among others. This will not only create job opportunities for our people, but also increase the revenue base for individuals. That's how the economy works. For individuals, for households, for businesses, and ultimately for the national economy. That's how it works. Madam Speaker, government will focus on the micro, small, medium enterprises, SMEs. We believe that this category of entrepreneurship is the main engine for job creation and indeed for wealth amongst our people. We must support our people to be wealthy. Then they can support the weak in society. Very important. This will be supported by broad-based education and skills development. We want to create a critical mass of entrepreneurs, especially amongst the youth and women. Very important. Madam Speaker, transport is the backbone for facilitating economic activities, trade and development. It is the catalyst for economic development. Despite its importance, investment in transport infrastructure has been lopsided, focusing on road transport at the expense of other options such as rail. Road infrastructure requires considerable high maintenance and rehabilitation costs relative to the railway infrastructure, which carries, anyway, heavier loads. Our administration will therefore focus on balanced and integrated transport infrastructure development. Not skewed, balanced. We will invest in road transport infrastructure, of course. We will invest in railway infrastructure, indeed. We will invest in air transport infrastructure. Very important. To achieve all of this, we will leverage public-private partnerships. We will leverage public-private partnerships. Madam Speaker, government will maintain, rehabilitate, and upgrade road infrastructure, particularly in rural areas, to open access. This will open up the country and link our farmers to markets, employees to their places of work, students to schools, colleges, and the sick to hospitals, amongst others. Very well coordinated, very organized. Madam Speaker, Recognizing the importance of the railroad subsector, as said already, economic development, government is committed to developing the subsector to provide for a cost-effective and efficient means of transportation of bulk cargo. Bulk cargo. This is particularly important in view of our country's position as a land-linked country, not landlocked. Different perceptions. Madam Speaker, with regard to the air transport subsector, we will facilitate the modernization, integration, commercialization of airports to maximize returns on investment. Maximize returns on investment. Always doing projects at the right cost, right value, timely delivery, all the time, all the time, all the time. No corruption in this sector. Zero. These measures will transform Zambia into a regional hub for road, rail, and air transports. We are capable. We will do it. Madam Speaker, government recognizes the critical role that the digital and knowledge economy plays in enhancing productivity across all sectors of our economy. Digital transformation affects every aspect of human, social, political, and economic activities. It also presents huge opportunities for the developing countries, especially those that seek to industrialize like our own country, Zambia. To harness this potential, we will mainstream. To harness this potential, we will mainstream digital revolution in our national programs in order to tap into the talents and creativity of Zambians, especially the young Zambians, the youth. We can all see the transformation brought about by digital revolution in the provision of goods and services. This is particularly the case in sectors such as finance, agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, information, wholesale and retail trade. We will exploit the increased use of digital platforms and delivery channels, such as automated teller machines, points of sale, and lights. This is particularly important under the COVID-19 pandemic environment, which has restricted physical interaction and changed the way we do things. We will therefore support innovation and creativity which offer homegrown solutions across all sectors of the economy. Madam Speaker, to support these and other innovations, we will provide relevant infrastructure to enhance connectivity and support investments in optic fiber and telecoms facilities for enhanced service delivery. We will also promote public-private partnerships in information and communication technology sector. Further, we will work towards managing telecoms costs and improving quality of services. I shall repeat that. It's very important. Further, we will work towards managing telecommunications costs and improving quality of services by creating an enabling environment for entrepreneurs, Zambian entrepreneurs in this sector. Madam Speaker, human and social development is essential to maintaining a healthy and skilled population. This demands that we improve the well-being of our citizens so that they can reach their full potential. To this end, improving access to education. I shall repeat. To this end, improving access to education, health, social protection, as well as water and sanitation services will be a preoccupation of our government in the next 5 years. To realize this aspiration, government will foster accelerated social transformation through the empowerment of our citizens. We will invest in the social sector so that our citizenry is skilled. Madam Speaker, we will invest in the social sector so that our citizenry Thank you very much. Thank you. We will invest in the social sector so that our citizenry is skilled, healthy, and empowered to participate in the socio-economic transformation agenda for the Zambia that we design. Madam Speaker, education, science, and skills development are cardinal to the attainment of our socio-economic development agenda. In the case of our country, Zambia, our education system at all levels of learning has deteriorated over the years. This calls for immediate action to restore our education system to international standards and best practice. Our administration considers education, science, and skills development as an equalizer to all our members of society. We will therefore realign the sector to ensure that it contributes to job creation and economic development. Madam Speaker, our administration will provide quality, I repeat, quality and equitable access to education for all. We will also ensure that the girl child has an equal opportunity to access education by addressing the challenges faced by female learners. And there are many challenges. We are aware of this. The education curricula will be reviewed to ensure that it is in line with the required artisan skills and our development aspirations and goals of our country. Emphasis will be placed on entrepreneurship, which will be aligned with the current socio-economic requirements in the country. We want to produce graduates with the ability to contribute to innovations to industry, create jobs and wealth. We want people who can work for themselves, not always depending on a salary until you retire. Our administration will also reform the higher education loan and bursary scheme. Very important. Our administration will also reform the higher education loan and bursary scheme. The reform is aimed at ensuring that learners who have potential to excel, especially the girl child, but are unable to afford to pay school or university fees are supported. This will be, Madam Speaker, I'm using English. Thank you very much. I'm using English. Thank you very much. Children like mine do not need taxpayers' education support. But the children of the poor need that support. That's the English I'm using. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we will bring order in the way we manage this country. This will be a departure from the prevailing situation where well-to-do and undeserving students are the ones that are benefiting from the bursary system. Under the new system, every deserving student, under the new system, every deserving student will be offered an opportunity to education. Even when they may be from low financial communities or families. To further improve the quality of education, we will recruit and deploy teachers equitably to all schools across the country. Madam Speaker, in our endeavor to develop new technologies relevant for our country, government will facilitate investment in research and development. We will also place a premium on science and technology to promote innovation and contribute to sustainable development. We will increase investment in. Let me challenge our scientists, our engineers, and there are some in this house, to research institutions and universities to rise to the occasion and begin to explore possibilities of developing vaccines, medicines, and appropriate technologies to respond to current and emerging issues in our country. Active population. Health is not only a social determinant, but an economic commodity to enhance human development. Very important. Very important. Madam Speaker, health is not only a social determinant, but an economic commodity to enhance human development. There are, however, inequalities in health service delivery in our country, especially between rural and urban areas. This calls for institutional and system strengthening to ensure that health security for all our people is achieved in the nation. Our administration will enhance healthcare financing to improve the quality of health service delivery to our people. We will also ensure that rural and urban communities are involved in the planning and delivery of health services as closer to our people as possible. This will be achieved through the adoption of a balanced approach between preventive community public health and primary health care on one hand, and secondary level health care on the other. In addition, we will secure the supply chain for medicines and medical supplies. We will also undertake recruitment and deployment of skilled human resources for all our health facilities across the country. In addition, we will provide health facilities with modern equipment and adopt a systematic approach to health infrastructure. No point building a clinic when there's no nurse and doctor there. It doesn't deliver health services. We'll address all of those inadequacies. Our administration will equally pay particular attention to address non-communicable diseases through health promotion and the adoption of healthier lifestyles amongst our population. Madam Speaker, poverty levels among our people remain unacceptably high. Income, gender, as well as rural and urban inequalities continue to exist. Notwithstanding the numerous existing social protection programs implemented by previous administrations, the programs have been marred with several challenges. These include poor targeting of beneficiaries, political interference, and shortcomings in delivery mechanisms. Going forward, Madam Speaker, our administration will streamline the delivery of existing social protection programs to ensure that they are effective, efficient, and work for the people, not for the administrators. This will entail scaling up and broadening the scope of coverage of the programs to ensure that more of our vulnerable people are protected from the poverty and destitution. Madam Speaker, a premium will also be placed on empowering our women and young people through empowerment and livelihood programs in this area. We will also devote our efforts in providing skills training for self-employment, as well as increasing access to credit, coupled with financial literacy. Very important. To this end, women empowerment will be an important strategy for overcoming poverty, marginalization, and other social ills in our communities. Government will therefore accelerate the implementation of programs aimed at promoting participation of women in economic programs. Livelihoods interventions will be important. Further, women representation in political leadership, commerce, and decision-making will be enhanced. To harness, Madam Speaker, that is why we have the first woman Speaker of the National Assembly. To harness the potential of our youthful population towards national development, government will create opportunities for jobs and wealth creation. This will be complemented by changing the mindset and culture of our young people so that they appreciate their value and attain their fullest potential. We want our youth to refrain from engaging in unproductive activities. We will also upscale resource mobilization to sustain the youth empowerment programs. Sustain the youth empowerment programs. So they will be in continuity, not start-stop. In addition, we will create specific preferential public procurement programs targeting the purchase of goods and services from our youth, from our women enterprises. Madam Speaker, to reduce the socio-economic disparities amongst the urban and rural regions of our country, this administration will ensure that resources and opportunities are provided equitably across the country. Not lopsided, across the country, based on need and economic potential of all our regions in our country. This will guarantee that all parts and regions of the country benefit from the economic and natural resource endowment at our disposal. To achieve this, our administration will implement deliberate policies to exploit the resource endowment for each and all of our regions. Madam Speaker, our administration recognizes that the water and sanitation sector is key in the development agenda of this country. We are committed to improving water resource management as well as water supply and sanitation for socio-economic development. To this effect, government will accelerate the construction of dams, water schemes, boreholes, to facilitate economic activities in various sectors of our economy and across the country, as well as provide clean water and adequate sanitation services for households in both urban and rural areas. Government will therefore progressively increase budget allocation and disbursement to the water and sanitation programs. Government will also facilitate private sector investment in water supply and sanitation. Madam Speaker, our government is committed to fostering environmental sustainability and promoting the green economy. A well-managed environment is critical for achieving economic recovery, sustained growth, and improved livelihoods for all our people. It is for this reason that we have placed a premium on dealing with serious threats posed by climate change. High variability with frequent droughts, seasonal and flash floods, extreme temperatures, and dry spells are expected to intensify with climate change. These have already adversely affected or impacted on food, water, energy security, as well as the general livelihoods of our people. To address climate change, our government is committed to strengthening the institutional framework on implementing climate change interventions. Government will ensure that low carbon and climate resilient development pathways are pursued. I shall repeat deliberately. Government will ensure that low carbon and climate resilient development pathways are pursued. With the proposed Ministry of Green Economy and the Environment, we will champion environmental sustainability and implement policies that will yield benevolent dividends for generations to come, not just us. We will also implement international agreements and protocols to strengthen programming on climate change. Madam Speaker, we will safeguard our natural resources, which constitute our natural capital and a source of enduring wealth. Very important. The vast majority of our people depend on natural resources for fuel, for income, for raw materials, and medicines. These resources, unfortunately, face growing threats ranging from habitat transformation, encroachment, uncontrolled fires, climate change negative effects, unsustainable utilization, pollution, to invasive species that are distorting our environment. Further, the value of ecosystems and their biodiversity are neither fully appreciated nor translated into monetary terms. As such, we need to appreciate these resources by utilizing them sustainably so as not to deprive future generations of their use. Our administration will, therefore, embark on promoting the conservation of biodiversity, including ecosystems, to ensure our natural resource capital is not eroded. In this regard, conservation plans for critical wetlands will be implemented to preserve these ecosystems. Madam Speaker, we shall make Zambia a global beacon for environmental sustainability and indeed a champion of the green economy. We must safeguard ecosystems, protect natural habitats, and keep carbon out of the atmosphere at all times. Madam Speaker, a conducive governance environment is imperative for our country's political stability, for security, for economic growth, and sustainable development. Very important. It entails enhanced transparency, enhanced accountability, consultation, and dialogue along the way. To achieve this, our administration will strengthen oversight and governance institutions ensure the independence and autonomy of the judiciary, and guarantee a free press and an active civil society. We will also ensure an improved policy environment, strengthen public financial management, as well as improve service delivery and productivity. Further, we will restore the rule of law. Madam Speaker, we shall restore the rule of law and protect human rights and property. No more savagery behavior. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we will restore the rule of law. We will protect human rights and property. Madam Speaker, our administration abhors corruption. Madam Speaker, our administration abhors corruption. We have a zero-tolerance policy on the corruption in all its forms. We will wage war on corruption and not spare any expense to ensure that perpetrators are made to account for their improper conduct. There will be no sacred cows in the fight against corruption, past, present, and future. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we will increase the benefits of being honest. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we will increase the benefits of being honest rather than being dishonest. I shall repeat. We will increase the benefits of being honest rather than being dishonest as observed in the past. And the cost of being corrupt will be made high. To enhance transparency and accountability in our national affairs, we will review the policy and the legal framework for oversight institutions to enable them to effectively fight corruption and economic crimes. I hope there will be no misunderstanding after today's speech. We will increase funding and enhance operational independence of our oversight institutions. For clarity, we will not use our political hand in the fight against corruption, but a professional fight anchored on the legal mandate given to oversight institutions. So no complaints going forward. No complaints. Yes. Madam Speaker, we will increase funding and enhance operational independence of oversight institutions. Further, we will introduce specialized fast-track stolen assets recovery mechanisms. Madam Speaker, further, we will introduce specialized fast-track stolen assets recovery mechanisms and courts for corruption and economic crimes. We will also enact legislation where it's weak, on ethics and integrity for improved transparency and accountability. Madam Speaker, part of our progressive transformation agenda will be to include decentralization and devolution of various central government functions to the provinces, Madam Speaker, to the districts, to the constituencies. That will be supported with resource allocation to these areas. This will include public procurement, resource allocation, and management that will be better managed at the local level with appreciation for local opportunities, priorities, and challenges. Madam Speaker, a conducive policy and legal environment is critical to achieving speedy recovery and stability of our economy, as well as ensure debt sustainability. It is not at the moment. To this effect, our administration will implement tax revenue administration reforms to facilitate a predictable tax environment and enhance revenue collections at all levels of government, including local government. We will broaden the tax base for revenue collection and lower the individual tax burden. Madam Speaker, to address the existing challenges in our pension system, we will undertake comprehensive reforms in pension fund management and administration. This will resolve the plight of pensioners and secure their rights to their hard-earned money over the years. To enhance provision of financial services to our people and attract investment in the economy, we will introduce legislation to widen the scope and lower the cost of financial services. English. In addition, we will create an enabling environment that will facilitate the development of the financial sector, and evolution towards a digital financial economy. To further improve the governance environment, we will enhance media freedom and access to information by facilitating the establishment of a media self-regulatory framework and enacting legislation on access to information. Madam Speaker, over the years, government has accumulated massive debts to finance widening fiscal deficits. These debts have accumulated to unsustainable levels, choking every resource available for development. Our administration commits itself to immediately stop excessive public expenditure, as well as of halting any further accumulation of debt, especially expensive debt, especially debt for consumption, not for revenue generation. Madam Speaker, that will come to an end. We will engage our creditors on debt restructuring to restore credibility in the market, sustainability of the debt. Further, accelerated growth will also improve our debt carrying capacity. Madam Speaker, let me read this English again. Further, accelerated growth will also improve our debt carrying capacity. Sustainability is what we are talking about. To enhance debt management and transparency, government will streamline reporting of debt to ensure full disclosure, and strengthen public investment management. We will repeal and replace the loans and guarantees Authorization Act, Cap 366 of the laws of Zambia, to bring it in line with the constitutional provisions. Currently, it's misaligned. Madam Speaker, to improve productivity and service delivery, our administration will ensure that we have a dedicated professional public service. To this effect, we will depoliticize appointments and promotions and improve leadership and management competencies in the public sector. Public sector, Madam Speaker, is open to all Zambians, not to a few Zambians, but open to all Zambians. We will implement changes, management programs in the public service to ensure an optimal service delivery system is brought back. Central government, local government. We want the commissions. I beg your pardon. In addition, we will reform the service commissions to enhance their independence and professionalism. We want the commissions to protect the public service from unwarranted political interference in line with their mandate. We will ensure that the merit principle, Madam Speaker, we will ensure that the merit principle is strictly adhered to in appointments and placements of staff in these sectors, knowing that we are all Zambians. We have an equal stake to this country. All Zambians. God placed us in this society equally, equitably. No one is senior to another. Madam Speaker, we must get back to a time when our public service institutions were strong. We must regain public confidence, which we have lost over the years. We are also committed to actualizing our national aspirations for a decentralized government system as enshrined in our Constitution. Government will therefore accelerate the implementation of decentralization of functions from central government to the local government authorities with matching resources, but also accountability. We will strengthen the capacity of our local authorities to enable them to collect their revenues and deliver public service to our people in an effective and efficient manner. No cadre will collect revenue that will be collected by. Madam Speaker, no cadre from any political party will be allowed, as it was in the past, to collect revenue that must be collected by the local authorities or central government. Madam Speaker, our administration Madam Speaker, our government will therefore accelerate all of those measures that enhance revenue collection, accountability, application of those resources to benefit the people of Zambia, not individuals. We will strengthen the capacity of our local authorities to enable them collect their revenues and deliver, I'm repeating, deliver services to our people in an effective and efficient manner. Clean toilets in the markets, water, garbage collection, paying salaries, awarding trading licenses on time. That's where jobs will come from. Madam Speaker, our administration will enhance access to justice, ensure strict adherence to the rule of law, as I said already, and upholding human rights. Very important for development. A free mind is an effective mind. We will safeguard the rights of our people and protect their property. I'm repeating. To this effect, we will strengthen and modernize our institutions of governance to guarantee security, fundamental human rights, civil liberties, and quick dispensation of justice. Madam Speaker, the separation of powers among the three arms of government is essential to the upholding of the Constitution and the rule of law. In this regard, our administration will strengthen and preserve the integrity of the principle of separation of powers among the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary as provided for in our Constitution. With respect to the constitutional reforms, your government will complete the constitutional reform agenda anchored on a broad-based consensus among all our people. Not a section of our people, but among all our people. Further, we will revive the process of expanding the Bill of Rights to integrate economic, social, and cultural rights. Madam Speaker, our democracy has become a shining example on the continent and the world at large, as evidenced by the just ended general elections, under difficult conditions, and a peaceful transition. Madam Speaker, I shall stay to my text. I don't believe in petitions. I don't believe in wasting money on by-elections. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I beg to move. Madam Speaker, I beg to move. I beg to move. I say so because that's my belief. I'm a believer in prudence, but I'm a believer in the rule of law as well. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, our democracy has become a shining example. I've said it. Our administration will therefore continue to promote and entrench the tenets of democracy. At all times, the tenets of democracy. To further strengthen our democracy, we will implement electoral reforms to strengthen the independence of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We will also reform the Public Order Act to facilitate its fair application and prevent the abuse of the past that we have seen. Madam Speaker, with respect to international cooperation and foreign relations, Zambia will effectively engage in bilateral, regional, and international levels to maximize benefits that accrue to our people and our country in the process of engagement. To this effect, our government will pursue economic diplomacy, trade and investment. That's the road we shall walk on. We will promote, I repeat, or emphatically, To this effect, government will pursue economic diplomacy. We will promote regional economic integration of our continent with this in mind. We will promote peaceful resolution of conflicts. We will ensure effective participation and representation of our citizens and other African nationals in the multilateral agencies. This is important, Madam Speaker. I'm well traveled, and I find Zambians are not there in these institutions. So we will ensure effective participation and representation of our citizens and other African nationals in multilateral agencies. We will create a professional foreign service to ensure effective representation of the country's interest in all our foreign missions. Even the staff quality that will be going there will reflect this principle. Madam Speaker, adherence to national values and principles does not only promote nationalism, patriotism. Peace is important. Unity among our people here at home. Unity and mutual respect. Madam Speaker, I work to your instructions. Ethnic degradation which we experienced, children observed in this house, in the last parliament, should not happen again. Madam Speaker, I'm talking about national unity. I'm talking about mutual respect. I'm talking about avoiding degradation of one against another, based on God's choice of who was born where. We saw it in this house, and it became normal. It will not be. We have no oversight over Parliament, but it's an appeal to the people of Zambia, especially members of Parliament, to be examples of mutual respect. Madam Speaker, we should adhere to national values and principles. We must be nationalistic, we must be patriotic, we must have mutual respect, we must promote peace and unity among our people, but also create a positive influence on work ethics and productivity. In addition, adherence to our national values and principles will create a conducive environment to attract investments that lead to higher growth and employment opportunities for all our citizens. Efforts towards entrenchment of our national values and principles will therefore continue going forward. We want every Zambian to be an embodiment of our national values and principles. Every Zambian. We will make the national motto of one Zambia, one nation, once more a reality. Not symbolism, but a reality. Madam Speaker, we recognize the important role that our traditional leaders, the church, and civil society play in the governance and development of our nation. To this effect, we will undertake policy and legislative reforms to enhance their contribution to national development. Madam Speaker, to begin to actualize the policy measures I have outlined above under the thematic areas of economic transformation and job creation, human and social development, environmental sustainability, and good governance environment. The Minister of Finance will soon be presenting the 2022 national budget to this August House. I therefore urge the honorable members of this August House to support in advance the budget as it comes on the floor. Madam Speaker, On 12 August, indeed, in advance, frame of mind, philosophical mindset, positive support, not negative support. On 12 August 2021, our people sounded the trumpet of change. On 12 August 2021, Madam Speaker, our people sounded the trumpet of change. A trumpet summoning all of us to national duty. A duty to restore our economy and safeguard the livelihoods of our people, all our people. A duty to attain a truly united, equitable, and prosperous country. A duty to stand for and uphold the rule of law. We must all act in harmony to move our country forward and achieve the much-needed economic transformation. Indeed, our best years as a nation are truly within our reach. Indeed, our best years as a nation are truly within our reach. The will, courage, energy, faith we garner for our transformation will secure us the success we desire to achieve. Hard work, discipline, and perseverance must be our bedrock. Indeed, the classical Greek writer, Euripides, was right when he said, and I quote, "Much effort, much prosperity." End of quote. Much effort, much prosperity. End of quote. This is the only way we will move forward as a country. Madam Speaker, we must put service above self. Madam Speaker, we must put service above self and the interests of the country before our own interests. Let us take individual responsibility for the common good of our people. We must promote peaceful coexistence and put an end to violence against each other. It is only in peace and unity that we can plan and actualize personal and national development. It is only in peace and unity that our children can enjoy their childhood and grow up into responsible citizens. It is only in peace and unity that we can build meaningful relations with nature, with our fellow human beings, and the Almighty God. Let the rivers and waters of peace and unity wash away all forms of violence from our land, especially that of the past. This is what our founding father, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, overwhelmingly demonstrated over the years. When we work to the best of our ability, our dreams become a reality. When we work together, Madam Speaker, when we work to the best of our ability, our dreams become a reality. But equally, when we work together as a people, nothing can stop us from achieving our dreams. When we live a life of service to the nation, our legacy lives on. When we live a life of service to the nation, our legacy lives on. If we don't, our legacy dies very quickly. Let us emulate Dr. Kaunda and work hard to make Zambia a better place for all. This is possible, and together we will make Zambia a better place for all. Let us create a united, prosperous, and equitable Zambia. The future of our country lies in our hands, all of us. Madam Speaker, it is now my singular honor and privilege to declare the first session of the 13th National Assembly officially opened. I beg to move, Madam Speaker. I beg to move, Madam Speaker. May God bless us all and continue to keep us safe. May God bless the works of our hands. May God bless our Christian nation, Zambia. Madam Speaker, I thank you. Wait.
There you have it. The President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has just addressed the first session of the 13th National Assembly under the theme Creating a United, Prosperous, Equitable Zambia, Restoring Economic Growth and Safeguarding Livelihoods.
Right, and the President has just taken leave, having been escorted by Madam Speaker just to the entrance, and the judicial procession is just making way. Please do stay tuned as the Honorable Madam Speaker takes her seat, and then a motion is supposed to be moved. And of course, we expect more business coming up. Stay tuned to Parliament Television.
We resume our business. Our honor What happened to the unity? Why so many differences? You and I can never change the fact that we are family. No tuvaye mihogo, impini Zambia. Yebo andime tudibantu bome oswego. Nikakuzonda weo, semu nakuzizonda neo. You and I are the same. Kana kukitala ateba. Get your time we go on to fundile abafya. Achinguru patolu wafuma kwisabane. Ola mutendele tenze now kale. Tikwine zane tiwelele kuchikondi tenze nacho kale. Swe yalu wanonga tukwile kuwana. Swe yalu wanonga we all need each other. Hey, to the bamu bene no kusano te baba. Division we let the mafia na pashaba. With a kuma vanga, with a kuma sansa. Mo unity ala trika tane let the sun shine. Mebo andi muvemba. Lesindi wate mutonga.
marks the departure of His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema from the parliamentary grounds where he has given his maiden speech, and you can see him just waving to the people who came out to support him, the different cultural groups, as well as the members of parliament. A lot of talking points have already come out from this speech, especially that he has set the tone that this service from these parliamentarians and any Zambian should not be for personal gain, but selfless service for the country. He has set a tone that demands people to work hard in whatever sphere of the economy that they belong to, as well as upholding professionalism. He has also applauded the former president Edgar Lungu for the democratic maturity displayed, and he has pledged to foster democracy and allow rights and liberties of the people to prevail. And as he departs from here at the parliamentary grounds, he has urged everyone to unite and focus on energies to develop the country and to take Zambia forward. He is cognizant of the fact that there is a huge task ahead to rebuild the economy, which is top on the agenda for the president and his team. But he has pledged that bold and decisive action will be taken in order to see economic recovery realized. And as he departs from the parliamentary grounds, and he is accompanied also by the men and women in uniform, it is important to reflect on what he has said today, because this is one of many occasions that the president will be speaking from here to the parliamentarians and to the Zambians as a whole. He has also spoken to the Zambians in as far as affordable cost of living across the country, something he is very passionate about when it comes to safeguarding the livelihoods of everyone by having affordable costs of living that will ensure that everyone has a meal a day, 3 meals a day. But for now, let's pause for the national anthem.
Beauty is the sun as it rises in the east. The first to see the light is the great Kilimanjaro. Beauty is the vast land they call Sahara. As the sun sets in the west, it turns into gold. Beauty is the love of the forefathers who fought for this land we call our home, which is why today we can celebrate freedom, freedom. Let's celebrate our land. Freedom, freedom. Let's celebrate our land. Celebrate our land. Celebrate our land. Freedom, freedom. Let's celebrate our land. Freedom, freedom. Let's celebrate our land. Celebrate our land. Beauty is the face of the African child, because in it hope for Africa's future lives. Beauty is our hearts if we keep this hope alive. Let's protect and nurture this